You should warm up every time you get ready to sing. And don't warm up by singing a couple of tunes. Try to follow a disciplined routine that involves easing your body from one level of activity into the next. You wouldn't stand up and run a mile without stretching your legs. Same thing for singing. You have to warm up your voice. Hi, today we're going to start by talking about a good practice routine that'll help you develop some discipline in your routine for developing your voice. And I have Katie Evans here helping me out today, and Mi Jin Jung is at the piano. We're going to start with the 4-part practice routine. There are 4 elements that make up a good practice routine. The first one is warming up. There are 2 parts to the warm-up, both the physical and the vocal parts of the warm-up. And it's really important that you do both of those. The second part is working on vocal technique. The third part of a good practice routine is working on songs, song study. And the last part is doing a cool down, which is a repeat of some of the exercises that you do for the vocal warm-up. So those 4 parts are really important to include in any practice routine that you do, whether it's 15 minutes in length or 45 minutes. It's important to touch on each of those things. And we'd like to demonstrate those 4 parts of the routine for you today. Katie's going to start by showing you what you would do if you're doing some of the physical warm-ups. When you think about other physical activity that you might engage in, like running or aerobics classes or anything else, you need to release the muscle tension as part of the overall process so you don't injure yourself. And that's what we're going to do when we do the physical warming up as well. You're going to energize your body, release muscle tension so you don't injure yourself. So you can think about the physical stretching that we're doing as part of the vocal warm-up as the equivalent of stretching your legs before you run. It's really an important thing to think about. You wouldn't just stand up and go for a 2-mile run without warming up, in the same way that you wouldn't stand up and sing without warming up. Now remember that when you're doing physical warm-ups, you should make sure that you're not holding your breath. Only do what feels comfortable and right to you. Don't go any farther into the stretch than feels comfortable for you. If you need to modify, please do it. And use your common sense about what feels right to you. And lastly, make sure that you don't bounce or force farther in a stretch than feels comfortable for you, because bouncing a stretched muscle is dangerous. You could perhaps pull or hurt yourself. So make sure that you don't bounce into it, that you're gentle and you pay attention to how you feel while you're doing it. We're going to do a head rotation that starts with imagining that you have a pencil attached to the bottom of your chin. And she's going to draw with that pencil from shoulder across the front of her chest to her other shoulder. And so it looks like this. And again, dropping your head, making sure that you're not holding it, taking your time. One more time and drop your head forward a little bit more. There you go. Good. And one last one. Good. As she's finishing up, I just want to point out that you have to remember that you're not forcing, that these muscles are very delicate in your neck. If you've ever hurt your neck muscles, you know how much that can affect your daily activities. So please take your time, make sure that you're not holding your breath, and only do what feels comfortable and right. If you find that partway through any of these stretches that your muscles pull a little bit or that you have a little bit of discomfort, stop, just let the weight of your head increase that stretch, and then continue on from there. But don't force your way through uncomfortable stretches. Next thing we're going to do is a full body roll down. So she's going to start, before we begin, I just want to remind you that your stretched muscles are in a weakened position, and that if you make those muscles immediately contract, especially your back muscles after they've been stretched, you could hurt yourself. So when she comes up, I'm going to ask that she pay special attention to make sure that you bend your knees and let your legs do the work of bringing you back up from that stretch, okay? She's going to drop down 1 vertebrae at a time. Take a breath in first, and upon the exhale, drop down. Keep going, rolling 1 vertebrae at a time. Drop your head, drop your head. Good. Now just stay there as long as you comfortably can. Come up just a little, Katie, just a little bit. Good. Stay right there. Drop your head. So you're kind of looking at your knees. It's very easy to hold your head up while you're doing that. So I want you to make a conscious effort of relaxing the back of your neck muscles. Now take a deep breath in, feeling your back expand, and exhale. Shake your arms a little bit to make sure that it's nice and loose. 1 more breath in, feeling your ribs expand. Blow it out. Bend your knees a couple times. Make sure the backs of your legs aren't getting too tight. 1 breath in, Exhale and roll up, slowly, 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 making your legs do more of that work. That's it. Coming all the way back up and letting your head be the last thing that comes up. Good. And a deep breath in one more time and blow it out. It's really important that you pay attention to your breath. The breath will take you through some of these stretches. Just as in a lot of physical exercises and in yoga, you have to let the breath help you through some of these stretches. It's really important to make sure that you're not holding. You'll tighten your throat, but of course you're not vocalizing. It's not the tight throat that's as much of an issue as it is using the breath to help continue and extend the release of your muscles. The last thing we're going to do is just a rotation of your upper body. She's going to imagine that her upper body is like a barber pole, and she's going to rotate around to one side. And while you're back there, Katie, when you're turned around to one side, you're going to make sure that the back shoulder is very relaxed. You go ahead and turn your head so you're kind of looking over your shoulder at the same time. So she's going to do that on an exhalation. Inhale first, exhale and rotate. Exhale, 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 relax that back shoulder. Go ahead and look over your back shoulder. Exhale, hold it, and then come around front again. Good. Inhale one more time and go the other way. Exhale and turn. Look over your shoulder, relax that back shoulder. Feel those rib muscles kind of waking up a little bit, and turn around to the front. Good. This way we have addressed a couple of major places where many people tend to carry tension: the neck and the jaw, the abdominal muscles, which are addressed in the rotation exercise we just did, and it kind of also helps wake up your rib muscles so you can kind of think about your breathing and how those rib muscles are engaged in the breathing process. So we're waking up those rib muscles, releasing tension in the abdominal muscles, and also releasing in the full body roll down tension that can accumulate in your back as well. So we've tried to address the three major areas where most people tend to carry tension. The next stretch we're going to continue with is a rib stretch, and Katie's going to raise her arm up to the ceiling, flat palm to the ceiling, and lean over towards me, exhaling and feeling that nice stretch in the ribs. One more inhale while you're over there, and let it go. Relax this arm down here. There you go. Good. Excellent. And hold it for a second, and then come back up. Good. Other side. Palm flat to the ceiling. Feel that stretch, and only go as far as feels comfortable for you. Inhale and exhale and lean. Good. And again, only going as far as feels comfortable for you. Breathe into it one more time and exhale. Relax those muscles. Good. Those two exercises will target the muscles that I think need a little bit of waking up first thing before your practice session starts, and also helps release some extra tension that might reside there. Remember that the physical warm-up part of your vocal practice routine helps release tension, and it readies your body for more vigorous activity. It kind of gets the blood flowing, wakes up your body, helps align your body so you're ready to breathe more fully into an open body position. And again, releasing tension is a really important part of this process as well. I'm going to go on with the next section of your warm-up, which is the vocal part. Now, I've asked Katie to sing on an unusual sound. This is a sound that some of you will be able to make and find comfortable, and you might have to practice a little bit to get it to go throughout your range, and some of you might not like it or find that you can make it at all, in which case you should switch to an ooh or a light hum. Any sound will really work on this. But I like the lip trill, which is a sound like this, because in order to make that sound, you have to have a loose jaw and steady airflow, two things that a lot of singers need to focus on when they're warming up. And then we combine that particular sound, the sound of the lip trill, with sliding, because sliding helps induce laryngeal relaxation. So we have three different things combined into one easy warm-up exercise that will help induce relaxation, that will just get your breath flowing, and can make a little bit of a silly sound to just get things moving. So you don't have to worry about your vocal sound first thing in the warm-up. So we're going to start with a 5-note descending fifth slide, and it sounds like this. Mi-Jin, would you play that first? Okay, and she's going to do it on the lip trill. So 1, 2, 3, and breathe. Breath. Breath. Just keep your jaw nice and loose. Good. So this sound although it might be a little silly sounding to you and you might have trouble with the sound starting and stopping, if you practice it, you can make it go through pretty much all of your range, and it can be very helpful for just inducing free breath flow, which is really important for singing, of course. As you notice, Katie got stuck once on it because her lips were a little dry. She's a little tense here. So if you need to, do that exercise by holding your mouth corners just nice and loose, and it can help just kind of keep things loose until you get used to making that sound throughout your range. We're going to continue with another sliding exercise on oo. Again, it involves the interval of a fifth, and she's going to sing 5-1, 5-1, sliding on an oo vowel. And you'll notice that while we do these warm-ups, we start in the middle, higher middle part of the range, and we're working down chromatically, working down by half steps. This can also help induce a certain amount of relaxation when you're first warming up, instead of always going up by half steps. So I'm going to ask her to start in the middle, upper part of her range, and we'll be working down. That slide helping to induce that laryngeal relaxation. An oo vowel is comfortable for Katie, but of course you could change to any vowel that feels comfortable for you. So here's your pitch. Okay, and like that. Ready and sing. Good. Take a breath and don't hold it, just let it go. There it is. Let it ride on your breath. And breathe. Sing into it a little. Good. When Katie's singing, I'm asking her to pay attention to just letting the tone ride on her breath. I'm asking her to pay attention to relaxing her jaw and just to singing into her voice. And to me, that means, and I hope to Katie too, means just a sense of releasing rather than holding and worrying about what notes she's singing. So I'm asking her specifically to just let it go. On slides, you really can't sing anything that's truly wrong. So it's important that you just feel like you're just letting your voice go. And that's an important part of the warm-up too, that you're not worried about matching pitch, or you're not worried about what your vocal sound is like first thing. You're just releasing. So we're trying to make just a basic, organic kind of vocal sound. It can involve sighs, sliding, lip trills, yawn sighs. I even have some of my students, while they're doing some of the physical stretches, make, groaning and sighing sounds like when they're warming up, just to get a sense of releasing the voice, which is the whole purpose of this warm-up, of the vocal warm-up part of your practice routine. The next exercise we're going to present for you is the interval of a fifth sliding and the interval of an octave sliding. The fifth will be sung on a lip trill, and the octave will be sung on oo or o or any comfortable vowel that you'd like to sing. Remember that your goal in this exercise is to not worry about pitch matching, but just to release your voice. So we're going to start again. Here we go. 3 and 4. You'll notice that while Katie's singing, she checks her body position. She felt a little tension creeping into her shoulders, and so she tries to move through it to release that tension. That's something that you should pay attention to too. While you're standing and singing, you should of course have good posture before you start, but that posture might accumulate a little bit of tension as you're continuing to sing and you're focusing on other parts of the singing process. So just check yourself. Take inventory while you're singing. How does my neck feel? How do my shoulders feel? Is my jaw loose? You kind of take a mental check throughout your body. Are my knees locked? I feel like I'm standing pretty upright. Remember that when you're aligning your body, Katie has good posture when we didn't talk about how to set up your body position for singing, but one of the best things you can do is just pay attention to an open chest position. Knees relaxed, chest open, shoulders relaxed. You can find that position by overextending a little bit, by pushing your shoulders back and then relaxing into it. And that's what Katie just did to show you. So you can overextend and then relax. Remember that, like any kind of stretch, it's an overextension of your muscles in order to give you a sensation of release of those muscles. So you don't need to stand with that tight shoulders pressed back sort of military position. It'll help you find a good, comfortably high position for your chest, though. And I think those are good keywords to think about when you're aligning your body. Is my chest comfortably high? Not uncomfortably high, and not slouched forward, but in a nice sort of medium, relaxed position for the chest. The vocal and physical warm-up can take anywhere from about 3 minutes to 7 or 10 minutes, depending on how much time you have for your total practice routine. Right now, after spending a few minutes just doing and showing you a few examples of some of the exercises you might do physically and vocally, we're going to continue on with the second part of a good practice routine, which is working on vocal technique. A lot of times when you think about working on vocal technique, many people start to think that they've got to really start pushing their voice, and it sort of implies a certain amount of force. But what I really want you to think about is that vocal technique is just addressing different parts of your instrument that might need improvement. So for some of us, that's working on breath support. For some people, it's working on increasing flexibility, increasing range. All of these things can be issues that you want to improve about your own voice. So I'm going to cover several different exercises that are used to address several of these elements that I've just mentioned to you, and Katie's going to demonstrate them for you. We're going to start with a 5-note descending pattern on the vowel sound mia, mia, mia. And I use the my sound to work on forward placement. So if your voice has a tendency to reside a little bit too far back, or you just need to kind of increase your awareness of a sense of resonance in your voice, you can use this exercise to bring your voice forward. And here's the pattern. And she's going to do it on mia, mia. 1, 2, and 3, and go.
Mia, 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 mia. Mia, 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 mia.
Just sing right into it.
Mia, 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 mia. Mia, 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 mia.
Relax your jaw.
Mia, 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 mia. Mia, 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 mia.
Good. When she's working on this exercise, it's important that you don't make it overly nasal, mia, 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 but she's working on relaxing her jaw and just bringing the tone forward using the vowel sounds, the mia, mia, mia. And so when you're making that sound, you don't want to say mia, mia, mia with a tight jaw. You want to say mia, 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 mia. I'm going to ask you to do that one more time with that thought in mind, just a couple of those. Okay. We won't do the whole pattern again. Ready? And
mia, 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 mia.
Go right to the ah, mia,
Mia, mia, mia, mia, mia.
Right.
Mia, 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 mia.
Let your jaw relax.
Mia, 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 mia.
Good.
Mia, 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 mia. Mia, 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 mia.
Good. So relaxing your jaw is important when you're doing those resonance exercises because there's a real tendency to tighten up. We're going to continue with a 5-note vocal pattern on a comfortable vowel. Katie's going to sing on oo. You should change to any other vowel that feels comfortable for you. Again, you'll notice that in these next couple of exercises, we're still working down by half steps. Again, trying to reinforce that idea that you're relaxing into the sound, not pushing up on the top end, but bringing your voice into a more warmed up state and working on specific technical goals and still working down by half steps to induce that feeling of relaxation. This exercise can be used to help with flexibility. Here's your pitch. About 1 and go. Just release your breath. Very good. Just smooth it out. Now we'll do an extended version of that same scale pattern. This is the first pattern that we're going to be working up in half steps. This can be used for range extension, for increasing flexibility in the voice, and for breath control as well, because it's 3 5-note scales all sandwiched together on 3 different vowels. We go from E to A to A, most closed vowel to most open vowel, trying to work on the placement of each of those vowels so they all come forward into a nice place. Here's your pitch. Take a breath. Brighten your ah just a little. You say ah. Yep. Good. Let it ride on your breath. Now ah. Good. One more. When Katie's doing this exercise, I was asking her to bring the ah into a little bit more forward place. So when she goes from e-ah, that ah feels like it's right up behind her front teeth rather than e-ah, where it can end up in the back of your throat, making a sound that's not as nice and brilliant. So what we're looking for in terms of tone placement is a combination, sort of a balance between brilliance and warmth together. And sometimes ahs have a tendency to be overly warm and not brilliant enough. So I'm asking her to think about bringing that ah forward so it resides in the back of her teeth a little bit more when she's singing in order to keep the brilliance in the sound. The next exercise is an intervallic exercise. I'm going to have her go through the 5 primary vowels, E, A, A, O, U, all smooth together. It still is only the range of a fifth, but it can be used to work on flexibility and range extension too when you get to the top of your range. Right now, we're staying in the middle of Katie's range just to demonstrate how she can move through the different parts of her voice smoothly. Here's your pitch. And good. You're going to keep your head level and not raise it and lower it. Very good. Take that breath and let it ride on your breath. So that can be used for legato singing, working on smoothing. You shouldn't hear any register changes or any popping and splitting of the voice in the middle of that range. You should smooth it all out. It's good for working legato and for blending as well. Next, we're doing a breath extension exercise that Katie's going to demonstrate for you. It's a single tone that she holds out, tries to do a crescendo and diminuendo. It's good for working all aspects of the breathing process. Here's your pitch. And. Can you give it a little crescendo? Wait till she goes up. And. Give it a little crescendo if you can. Work to keep your ribs open. Open your body. That was better. Good. Inhale. Give it a little crescendo. Work to keep your ribs open. Don't let your chest collapse. Beautiful. A couple more. Give it a little crescendo if you can. Work to keep those ribs open. Beautiful. jaw relax now.
Ma, me,
Good.
mi, mo, moo.
Feel the tone vibrating on your teeth. Intensify it. Keep those ribs open. Very good.
Ma, me, mi, mo, moo.
Stop right there. Beautiful. That's not an easy exercise to do, and Katie's doing it very well. The couple things to remember that I'm speaking to her about while she's singing, the idea of keeping her ribs open as she exhales. That brings us to a short discussion about breathing I just wanted to touch on for a minute. There are 4 steps of effective breathing. Aligning your body, which I talked about a little earlier, which means getting your chest in a comfortably high chest position. When you inhale, step 2, is expansion around your waistline. So inhale and expand around your waist, not around your armpits, which brings your chest up. That inhalation should stay around your waistline to keep these muscles from tightening up. The third part of the breathing process is exhale with firm abdominal muscles. You don't have to pull in really hard, but it's a sensation of firmness in your abs to expel the air. And then 4 is keep your ribs open as you exhale. And 3 and 4 are happening simultaneously. And Katie was working all of those elements at the same time while she was doing that last exercise. Remember that if your chest isn't high enough before you start, you're going to create tension for yourself when you take that breath. So make sure that you start with the good body alignment. The inhalation should only be around the waist. Katie, inhale. Good. And exhale with firm abs. Good. And her chest not collapsing as she exhales. So for many of us, if we don't get our chest up high enough before we start, it's sort of like not taking your instrument out of the case. You've got to get your chest in a nice open position so your lungs can expand. Remember that your lungs aren't muscular. They're inside your rib cage, and if your rib cage is collapsed, your lungs are trapped inside of a smaller space. So your job is to open up your ribs to give more room for those lungs to expand. When you inhale, you do it around your waistline because you have to move all your internal organs down and out of the way so your lungs can descend as far as they can. And that means your diaphragm moves down. Your diaphragm is just a double dome-shaped flat muscle that divides your chest cavity from your abdominal cavity. When you inhale, your diaphragm descends slightly, contracts. When you exhale, it goes back up. Your job is to create an environment in your chest where you're not creating more tension on the inhale and exhale. This is the wrong kind of breath. Inhale with the chest high, inhale, and exhale collapsing, creating tension in her throat. Okay, this is the right kind of breath. She starts with a good upright chest position, inhale, and exhale, where the tummy moves in and out. One more time, inhale, and exhale. Good. Katie's going to demonstrate another pentatonic pattern for you now. Ready? 3 and 4.
Whoa.
Right. Wait. Wait, and ready, and breathe. Good. Good. I'm going to try to relax your body a little bit as we go. Good. 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 When you're working on that, there's a couple things that you can think about that might help. First of all, you want to keep your body loose. These are exercises that you can't be totally stiff with your body. You've got to keep your body loose, feel the rhythm of the pattern that's going on underneath you. Try to hold, if you can, straight tone when you first approach the note and do a crescendo on that first whole note so it doesn't just stay all the same dynamic level. So you're going to start soft, crescendo into it, and then use that to kind of launch into the little pentatonic pattern that follows. We're at the end of the vocal technique part of a practice routine. Even though we've just demonstrated 1 or 2 exercises that address different parts of your voice that you might want to work on, there are an abundance of books and resources that you can use to help you find other kinds of exercises and that might even detail entire practice routines for you to work with. A good practice routine will contain a few minutes of vocal warm-up, physical warm-up, a nice chunk, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes of vocal technique that's just devoted to working on different parts of your voice that you're trying to improve, and then going to song study. So how much time you spend on the vocal technique part of your practice routine really depends on how much overall time you have to practice. If you have only a 15-minute spot that you can get into a practice room somewhere by yourself, then you need to do a quick warm-up, a little bit of vocal technique, some song study, cool down, and you'll be able to do a full practice routine in 15 minutes. You could probably accomplish more if you're able to spread that out into about a half-hour time period, where you're doing 2 or 3 minutes of physical warm-ups, 3 to 5 minutes of vocal warm-ups, doing 10 to 15 minutes of vocal technique, and then working on songs, whatever kind of songs and repertoire you're working on. That depends on how many songs you're working on, depends on how much work you have to do, but you can really adjust the length of this to suit your own needs. Right now I'd like to have Katie sing an Old English folk song that we've arranged called The Water is Wide. And she's going to sing it, and then I'm going to work with her a little bit and talk to her maybe afterwards about things she can do to improve some parts of it. Mi Jin is playing piano.
Like morning dew, and fades away, like morning dew.
Okay, I want you to try that phrase again, the give me a bow, to put a final T, and then just watch your pitch as you go down through that section. Just that one phrase, okay. Those are actually those two phrases. Give me a boat that can carry two. Okay, let's try that.
Give me a boat that can carry two.
Good. You get that can carry right there. You're a little flat on that second part of it. One more time on that phrase.
Give me a boat that can carry two.
The second note of re is still under a little bit. Would you play that with her, Mi Jin, that whole phrase once? And one.
Give me a boat that can carry two.
Beautiful. Okay. So remember that on descending parts of the phrase, you're going to try to keep the tone coming forward and keep your support energized to the very end, especially on the descending parts, but of course on all phrases too. You have to pay a certain amount of attention to not collapsing, keeping the breath flowing, keeping your voice energized. It's really great. Even in pop music, you have to pay a certain amount of attention to the way that you say the words. It has to be bigger than spoken, but still not to the point of being formal pronunciation as it is in classical music. So you've got to find that nice balance between being clear and yet not sounding overly formal. And if you put a nice final consonant here, it still reads as being very natural sounding, even though to you it might feel like a d and t when you say those final consonants. Okay. Using a mirror can be a very valuable tool in practicing. Katie's going to use the mirror right now as she sings part of the same song, and she's going to observe her body position, observe her jaw, make sure that there's no tension in her jaw, and just get an overall view of what she's working with. A lot of times you can self-correct by watching yourself in a mirror, so it can be very helpful. Okay. Try to relax into it, sing into your voice.
And neither
long phrases, grow, let it grow a little bit.
My wings to fly.
Now grow in this note, go into it,
Grow
it a little bit.
That can carry two.
Now make sure you support on the way down.
And both shall roll.
That's it.
My love and I.
Good. Sing that last phrase one more time. My love and I.
My love and I.
Let's do that one more time. My love. You're going to keep the vowels all up in the front of your mouth, so it's my love and not my love, and letting it drop down. Okay? My love. Ready?
My love and I.
Good. Now let's try a little bit of that one more time. Go ahead and stay with the first verse because it's easier to remember at this point. Anything that's longer than, say, an eighth note, you're going to make it grow a little bit. You're going to swell through. It'll give you the energy to make it to the end of the phrase. It'll give you the energy to support a little bit more too, just by virtue of thinking that I'm going to make this crescendo a little bit. That'll give your phrases some shape as well, instead of just all kind of flatlining through here. So you're going to shape your phrases by growing when you have any sustained note. Just give her the dominant chord. Yeah, ready?
The water is wide. I cannot get over.
Sing out a little bit more. You can play more too.
And neither.
Yes. Let it grow.
My wings to fly.
Here's the big climax.
Give me a boat.
Let it go.
That can carry two.
Breath.
And both shall roll. My love and I.
Good. So when you're watching yourself in the mirror, what do you see? What are you thinking about?
My breath gets high. My shoulders just tense at the moment. And my neck is craning up.
Going this way when you're going for the high notes only, or is it most of the
I
time?
notice it mostly when I'm going for Give Me a Boat. And I'm trying to bring it down. But it cranes a lot throughout the rest of it as well.
Okay, that's an important thing to observe. Any tension that creeps in the back of your neck, of course, can impact your vocal sound. Tension in your neck, when you have tension in the outside of the muscles, can interfere with the inside production, and we want free sound. So it's good for you to observe all of those things. You're also very aware of your body position, which is great. So keeping that in mind, feel free to move your head a little bit while you're singing. Move it around, check in, see how you're feeling, and if you catch yourself in that craning neck position, go ahead and correct it as you go. And if you need to let some of the words go, if you need to switch to lu or something, or la la la, just to make it through so you can check, what you're doing technically, I think that would be helpful. Okay. So let's try a little bit from the beginning, just the dominant 7. Come again.
The water is wide.
Check your neck, back your neck.
I cannot get over.
Keep your knees soft so you can move them.
And neither have
feel free to you?
Not at all.
Let's check that and see if you can free it up a little. Is it? Are you holding on the word boat? Are you holding with your jaw? Okay, so you're going to drop your jaw. Just let it feel like it hangs. Boat. I don't have any control over that. Okay. Give me a boat. Ready?
Give me a boat that can carry two.
Take a good breath and relax your jaw.
And both shall row.
Good.
My love and I.
Good. So the things you're observing are all legitimate, excellent things for you to watch about yourself, and the fact that you're aware of them, that's the first step, and then kind of self-correcting as you go and you're working in the mirror is the other. A lot of people don't like to look at themselves in the mirror while they're singing, and even when I put them right in front of the mirror, their eyes are reverting up to the ceiling or their eyes are looking down on the floor, anywhere but right at themselves. So you do a good job of just standing and watching, sort of with that third person, more removed kind of feeling rather than, thinking, oh, my hair, oh, my, whatever. So it's good for you just to watch yourself in a just a real general way, body position, jaw tension, a sensation of release for the high notes, and just checking anything else that comes up as you're going on. Good job.